Right. The last time I met you, though, you had a different name. So we were talking about Santa Claus coming in. We went to a dinner for our buddy Ken.
Sushi night.
West Coast Tuna. And we went to his dinner, and we were talking about Santa Claus. And you had a different take on Santa Claus. You called him Sancho Claus.
Sancho Claus.
You come in the middle of the night and take your lady.
Come in the back door.
Oh, shit.
Forget the cookies and milk.
Which is great. But let's to the serious subject. I mean, you've been doing this for a minute, man. A lot of people know you because you've been bass fishing for how long now? Gosh.
A long time.
Yeah, right.
You're going to make me feel like you're going to put me in my grave already. Already got 1 foot in.
And the way I met him is Kelly is through Mark Higashi and Joe at Performance. You know Mark for a minute then?
Oh yeah, since he was wet behind the ears.
Oh man, I like hearing about that.
Oh yeah, we got times.
Yeah,
a lot of history too. Some good trips. I mean, when the two of us, we hardly fish together, but when we do, we either win money or I always catch big fish.
There you go.
It's kind of crazy, but we fish really good together. You have no idea a guy like that to have as a team player with you and as a teammate. Oh, he'd be the best. He's the best. He's so versatile and flows with anything that you got coming, and he will make the best out of whatever you give him. He'll make the best out of it. I relate to that. I know. I do the same thing, and to have that skill and ability, just knowledge, time on the water.
Yeah,
and you go out and fish. You just fish. You go fishing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. You make all these plans and try to figure this and that out. Yeah, you can figure it all out in paper and put it down before you get and hit the water. But by the time you get on the water, it's a whole different story.
Right.
You got to fish the moment, the minute.
Yeah, you got to think about that. And I mean, you've been doing it for a long time and you've seen a lot. So, I mean, you seem like a very humble dude. The times I've met you and, again, I haven't been into the whole scene that long, maybe 2 or 3 years. I've been fishing for about 10, but I never dipped into like knowing everybody. But you seem like a very humble dude and almost quiet, like kind of down low. You don't need any recognition.
I don't like to blow my horn.
Yeah, right.
I mean, to be honest with you, when everybody goes that way, I go this way.
Yeah,
and in the tournament thing too, I don't follow crowds. I'll just rather go fish. And I make the best of it and find my own fish. Try to do that as best as possible. I don't care if I'm tournament fishing or I'm fun fishing or whatever it is. And I still have that approach, that tournament mentality of that grind and focusing and getting everything lined up, as far as your equipment and to detail. I mean, I critique my stuff and I never stop critiquing, improving, and refining from your components when it comes to your material, whatever you're using, your tackle, and then you apply all that before you get to the water and you set yourself up because you don't want error. And I don't care if you're fun fishing or tournament fishing, we put a lot of money in this thing. And if you go out there and you break off a big fish or for some stupid reason on a fun day fishing, and then you end up having a tough day. It's like that one bite would have made your day.
Yeah.
And it could have been a 5-pounder. It could have been an 8-pounder. Whatever. I mean, that one bite. And that's the drive that keeps you coming back.
Yeah.
To lose that because of, I didn't retie from the last time out. I used the wrong line. Yeah. Just things like that. I don't care what. Tonight I'll go in and I'll fine tune my stuff. Every time I go out, I change up my leaders.
No matter if it's a tournament or you're fun fishing, you're gonna get ready the same way every time.
I don't spend as much time, but I definitely get things lined up because I don't care. I can make the best plans and then turn around and hit the water, and it's like, wow. You start putting stuff away. You're like, man, I can't even do this. It's just like you have to change for the moment.
Yeah,
constantly. So you shoot from the fly. I'm a junk fisherman. I mean, I consider myself a good junk fisherman.
Explain what that term is in case, people don't know what a junk fisherman is.
Being versatile, shoot from the fly. I'll have 8-9 rods out on the deck. And in that given day, if I don't use all 8 or 9 of those rods, I'll use the majority of them and I'll catch a fish on just about every one of them, doing a whole different type of technique, presentation, everything. And that's a junk fisherman. When you're going to have a flipping stick in your hand, turn around and have a 6-pound spinning rod, you got one in each hand. To change up like that, but you got to read water. You got to know how to read the water.
How did you you do that now? You fish that way when you go out. Say you're going to go out tomorrow.
I fish that way all the time.
So how did you learn how to figure out the big bait game? Because that takes a whole nother, I think,
that's a
turn, right? Yeah, you're committing to something.
It's a commitment.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, but it's something that you have to prepare yourself mentally and know what you're getting yourself into mechanically, physically. If you don't have all that ability, if it's to say is you're not going to do that well. You got to have the makeup and you have in here.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to tell you real quick is that for all the youngsters out there and up and coming, but this sport is humbling. I don't care at any level. It's the game of life. It will help you in life. And you're born with this God-given gift to fish. Mm-hmm. And there's the people that have it, they know it's right here. And they know. And people that know you well, they know you got that gift. It's the ones that try to break into it and go through the motions, and they don't have the heart for it. They don't have it's running.
When you say heart for the sport, do you mean almost like having the will, but at the same time giving back the way you should?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a give and take.
Yes.
It's a give and take. And I did that way back in the day in the tournament thing too. I spent time with kids. Kids are so excited. They see your whole rig and they're all, just waiting at a tournament, and I'll put them in my boat. And the next minute I'm giving them worms and hooks and weights.
Awesome.
And
great.
Send them on their way.
Yeah.
Why not? I never had that. Nobody ever did that for me.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I did that. I spent time with that. That's the next generation. But you know what? You do that for one person, that one person that takes that, they'll never forget you.
Yeah.
They never will. To this day up north, there's so many guys that remember me when I travel up there, tackle shops. Even though I can go to Clear Lake out there, people come off their dock and say hi to me
Wow.
I don't, it's like I can't remember all of it, but it's nice that the people still remember you and they welcome you, and that's important. That really is important.
But having that mindset is a whole different story, because I feel like the bigger you get, the bigger your ego can get, maybe. And I'm sure it happens with anyone. Like I call my term is big dicking. You get big dicked by someone, that means they fucking are too good for you. They big dick you. And I'm sure that's easy to do when your ego gets big, when you have so many people that love you or follow you, or, and you forget, like, hey, man, this is just something that you love that you got to share with someone else, and not have that big ego,
That's true. That's another thing too. Either you've been humbled, and that's the problem. A lot of men, and I'm going to tell you flat out, that's how you get humbled. You need to get your ass knocked on the ground. You literally,
it's so funny.
There's going to be somebody bigger, badder than you, no matter, and whatever avenue,
right.
Wherever you go. Yeah, you can beat your chest and this and that, but I don't care what. On any given day, on the ground, on the land, on the water, there's somebody going to kick your ass.
Or they're gonna
I don't care what you're going to do.
Or they're going to catch that bigger fish in you. And
that's what I'm.
That's
on the water, off the water, on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to do it.
So you
have to realize, and I got the scars and the wounds.
Yeah.
From my battles and my mistakes.
Do you think you did that when you were younger? You think you beat your chest?
No. But I'm saying I have the wounds and the battles from just the travels that I've had to go through and endure, and the things I've witnessed and seen, and and how people are, and just what happens, and I've seen all that and endured a lot of things too. It took a lot of shit too, but yet I didn't want to. I wanted to. You got sponsors and people are looking at you too. You got to be careful, and it cost me a couple boats, put it to you that way.
Wow.
Honestly, just not holding my ground. I look back now and easy two boats, maybe 3 boats at least.
Do you think from not holding your ground, from trying to be too nice?
Well, what I call it is is more like, from my generation, is just respect. It's respect.
It's funny because what you had to say and Butch had to say is pretty much the same thing. I think it's an old school mentality that maybe it's a little lost by some guys. And I'm not trying to shit on no one, you know, like I'm nobody. I'm a fucking retard, idiot. You know, I like talking to dudes. I'm trying to say from what I've heard from people is like, I always give respect no matter what, who you are, you know, like if I don't know you, I give you respect until you show me that I don't have to give it to you.
It's mutual.
And I feel like some of that's lost today. Even just interviewing Butch, I mean, he's pretty old school. Bill Samantal, I know there's a lot of drama behind him, but he kind of said the same thing. You're saying the same thing. I think it's an old school way of thinking, maybe, you know, like showing that little bit of respect goes a long way, you know?
Well, there was more back then than there is now.
Yeah.
And it's a whole new world we live in. I'm walking on a different planet. And it's hard for me at times, you know, and I'm dealing with it. My dad warned me about it many, many years ago. Everything he told me was happening. What was coming is happening.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it in all shapes and form, and from skilled labor to how in just everyday life, you know,
right, man?
It's falling apart, man.
Even walking into stores or kids, like I said before, I had kids just like drive by my front yard and just walk in the middle of the street, don't give a shit, no respect. You know, you're honking the horn, they go, fuck you. And I go, really? You little shit? You know, like...
You can't drive down the street. They want to walk down the middle of the street like, hey, you're going to wait. You're on my time. Oh, I'm like, really? And they'll walk like it's the movie Tombstone. They're all lined up.
They think they're fucking Doc Holliday and shit.
Every day. Every day I deal with that shit. You know what? I wish I was around those days in the Wild Wild West. Hey, an eye for an eye,
tooth for a tooth, right?
Justice, man.
Hey, they'd call you the fucking gunslinger, right?
I would.
Hey, they'd be like, "Here comes fucking Sancho Claus. He's gonna shoot your fucking head, bro."
I'd be the modern day Doc Holliday.
Oh fuck! You got the hair, bro.
Shit.
Now that we've complained all the time and fucked off, let's get back to fishing.
See, you taking me over the bridge
I'm
again.
Sorry,
on
dude.
The edge.
I'm sorry,
we're on
man.
the edge already. You see?
Yeah, I'm trying to calm you down with that Jack Daniels Tennessee, bro. Right? There you go. But the real reason I wanted to get you on is because I feel like you have a lot of history. Everyone says you've had a lot of history doing the. A lot of people listen. Let's start with Castaic, man. You kind of seen it happen from the get-go, right?
Since day one.
Did you see it open?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was there on the bank. We were fishing for trout. My dad took me.
What year was this?
We lined up.
Do you remember the year by any chance?
73. We lined up on the dam. It was solid wall to wall, elbow to elbow, asshole to asshole. I mean, you just had 3 feet on each side to cast. And a small trout was 14 inches, a small one. I mean, they were pulling in 18, 20-inch, 22-inch trout. It was... crazy. That was the beginning of Castaic for me, and then it evolved into the bass fishing end.
Did you grow up down that way?
San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
So I had Castaic, Piru, Casitas, and those were the 3 that I fished. You know,
when did the bass thing take over for you? So where you're like, oh fuck this trout shit, I want to.
Well, I hooked up with Leonard Irwin back in '73. He had a little aluminum boat, and then I converted his boat into a bass boat.
Who's Leonard Irwin?
Just a guy that I met through
a buddy.
That went up through one of my guys at school.
Okay.
Back in the day.
And how old were you at this time?
I was like 14.
Shit.
And then Scott went out the deep end and freaking took a trip and never came back. And
that was your other boy.
Yeah, he was the one who hooked me up with Leonard.
Okay.
And he went off the deep end. I'm sure he's not even alive, but. I mean, that's the kind of shit I came from, but the fishing's that's the thing. The fishing is already brought me.
Do you want to know what's funny is that when I grew up, I went to Cal High in Whittier, South Whittier.
Yeah.
And the dudes that I would talk to, like the cholos almost, would fish. So there was Whittier Narrows golf course. And they'd be like, hey, we're going to go fucking jump the fence and fish bass. I'm fucking 16. That's one thing that connects you with dudes. Doesn't matter who you are.
There's no.
The people that like I meet some ghetto fuckers. They'll be like, I love fishing. Like they don't give a shit. Like I have buddies. They just like to grab a pole.
Surprise the hell out of you,
don't you? Right. And that
it doesn't matter. Hey, there's no
racial discrimination.
There's no discriminations for that when it comes to putting the rod in your hand.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what so was Leonard, was he a white dude?
Yeah, he was an older dude.
Okay.
He was a lather actually back in the day.
Okay.
He had, his hands were rougher than 80, well, I want to say 60 grit paper.
Fuck, man.
I remember after I painted one of my trucks, I brought it by to show him, and I pull up, and he just rubs his hand down the side of my truck, and I just color sanded and buffed it out. I'm like, well, now I gotta go back and polish it out again, compound it out. I'm like, but he took me under his wing for a few years.
Yeah.
I hooked him up with flat back. I put a flat deck in it, trolling motor, seats. I mean, I hollowed out the frickin' styrofoam flotation in the seat, and I put a frickin' live well in there. Basically, it was more of a bait tank for him because he liked live bait. And so we can throw shad in there and stuff.
You guys doing this at Castaic?
Every weekend.
Okay.
Every weekend. That was from the early 70s, all the way through towards the I would say 77, 76. No, what am I saying? 76, probably about 76.
So till you kind of graduated, you're kind of like.
Well, yeah, and then what happened is that just we separated. It's wasn't the best circumstances. I was growing, man. I was making good money.
What were you doing at the time?
I was doing trade shows.
Okay.
And then, I started at $3 an hour. I went from 50 cents of cutting grass for 50 cents to $3 an hour taking out the trash, basically.
Fuck.
And then I went and I said, I joined the union. I said, no, I'm not going to hold back.
Yeah.
I was going to college and trying to work part-time. Mm-hmm. So in 2 years after high school, I had a 1974 Tidecraft tri-hull, 18 foot with a 115 on there, tri-hull.
Wow.
I had that, and that was my stepping stone. And I started, after that, I didn't look back, and work was good. I'm making $27,000 when I'm, 20 years old?
Shit. That's great money then,
the money
right?
I made back then, I was doing really good. People hate me now, but I've talked about it. Like, it's like, but things are different. Times are different, Yeah. But I worked hard. I was a laborer, But the thing is that I was able to experience and able to achieve and pursue what I was doing. And my fishing was fun. I enjoyed it. I looked at the Western Outdoor News every week. I chased the stories and chased the lakes and chased the reports on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. From time to time. I fished. I would literally hook up and take off and go up fish San Antonio, Nacimiento, Success, Cahuilla. I went in Central Valley and just checked out all this stuff. I did it by myself. I slept in the back of my pickup truck and just went and had
How was the fishing then? Was it way different?
A whole different. We had rain back there. We had water. We had trout plants. We had good, fertile lakes.
Do you think you were catching more fish then?
Quantity
and not quality. Maybe
some quality.
Yeah.
There's some quality there, but
quantity.
But the quantity and the quality ratio, as far as averages, were really good.
Okay.
And the different multi species too. You can go to, you go to lakes up off the Central Coast and you can catch 3-4 species.
Wow.
But 3 species of bass too.
Yeah.
As far as there'll be white bass too in the mix too. And smallmouth, and you'll have spotted bass and largemouth as well too. So you got a mixed bag there, and it's a blast, But chasing all that, did that, and that helped it elevated me and kept me going. Little did I know I was down this road that I was traveling, and I had no idea.
Was this all live bait then too?
No, I wasn't a bait guy.
What were you using then?
Gosh, I use little jigs. I use crappie jigs. I use small. I use rooster tails.
And what size? What size of line were you throwing then?
Predominantly a lot of 8-pound
mono.
4.
Mono.
I'd say 4. I would say 4. Depends on how I was chasing. If I was chasing school fish, I was throwing 4-pound line with little.
Were you throwing Zetos?
With little jigs? No. I was throwing spinning.
Spinning then?
I was throwing spinning, predominantly spinning gear and bait casting gear. I graduated into.
What was the bait caster back then you were using?
Gosh, I was throwing a pen back in the day, an old gold pen.
How big was that fucker?
It was just a little. It was
a little guy.
It was a 100 series type compact, and then I got that was kind of more like an egg beater, but I got out of that really quick, and then I got a Daiwa Millionaire. That'll go into when I'm going to tell you about my steps within the early 70s, and I mean, gosh, I got a Daiwa Millionaire. I remember that. Bill Dance came out in '73, and he came out, and I met Bill Dance, and it's in the Reseda store. It's a Turner store now in Reseda.
Is it still around?
The store's still
the store
there,
is.
but
oh shit.
But I can't remember the name of it. Somebody just told me not too long. In fact, Tauber, I was having a chat with Tauber at the Fred Hall show.
Yeah,
and he remembers. He was there too, and he remembers the whole thing.
Oh,
and
that's fucking cool, man.
I met Bill Dance, and it was towards the end of his career, and he had the Daiwa Millionaire.
Was he a cool dude?
He's just professional back then, cordial. Everybody got up there to get a signature, autograph, or talk to him or whatever. And here's a little seminar. So
like what I see him is like being a jackass, kind of like those videos where he's falling off the boat and stuff. Those outtakes, those videos where he's fucking.
There's
off.
a lot of real stuff there, that just happens.
Is that real?
I don't think it's a lot of scripted stuff. There's not a lot. There's scripted and non-scripted. No,
he seems like a friendly guy.
But what's more staged though is the bodies of water. And they put them on stock, small bodies of water.
Like Jimmy Houston, you ever meet him?
Jimmy, no. But Jimmy Dick, oh gosh, here you go with names now. I got a story on that too, and if I can remember if he passed away too. He actually taught Jimmy Conroy Oakley taught Jimmy Houston how to fish a plastic worm.
Fuck, man.
Conroy Oakley, Central Valley. CO worms. That's who he was.
No way.
His business was CO worms. Yeah, he made really good plastic worms. But Jimmy got a hold of Conroy. But Jimmy came out, and Conroy spent some time with Jimmy, showing him how to fish plastic worms. And this is back in early '70s.
Wow.
I mean, these guys were pouring worms. It wasn't mainstream, but these guys are. There's some. I mean, a lot of guys aren't here no more, but. That's another story people don't know about.
You're pretty hardcore into the 73, 74.
Well, I was breaking ground, and then, I mean, things were evolving, meeting people and things, and, Bill Dance brought his blueback diamond worms out here. They were like a freaking stick of licorice. I mean, they were gaudy, the most gaudiest.
Hey, the only other person that uses the word gaudy is my wife.
Well, okay.
Hey, I love it. No, use the word gaudy. I'm going to tell her about this.
They're just, you look at them and you're like, no.
Yeah.
And they were transparent. Really.
Did they work?
Oh yeah, they work. But today, if you put those in somebody's hand, they'd like, what?
Yeah.
They were so hard, like a piece of licorice.
Yeah.
But they were transparent, and the colors were so bright.
And they worked just right, huh?
But they caught fish. But Bill came out here. He fished with the guys from the Mini Mart, the original owners from the Mini Mart there, Claude and his partner. Claude took him out. Claude took Bill Dance out on Castaic, and Claude's dead now. But they had the little trailer over at called the Mini Mart. It was a trailer. I mean, a little trailer. Mm-hmm. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, you remember that. But yeah, Bill was out here for a while.
How were you rigging those things?
It's Texas rig.
Really? Okay.
Back then, we weren't into real heavy weights. I mean, an 1/8 ounce, 3/16 ounce, maybe 1/4 ounce, but typically, majority of the time, 3/16 was just a good all around weight. But yeah, so I'm fishing those worms and stuff, and I'm either renting a boat or I'm pretty much renting a boat at Castaic and fishing out there. And I remember, and I met Don Ivino before he was Don Ivino. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were just fishing out aluminum boats when I was with Leonard waiting in line on the west ramp, and we go out there with live shad and we troll. They would troll, but I would always try to be cast. And anytime they came up,
so you were up at the big lake, not the small
big lake, and anytime they came close to a point, I'd fire out a worm and catch a fish really quick. I mean, I was trying to draw them in to let's go down and bass fishing little by little. But I was fishing the bank. I mean, fishing hard. And
was Leonard showing you a lot of the techniques, or were you guys both learning together?
Leonard was a bait guy. He was a bait. He was a bait guy. I'm throwing, and then when I got him fishing the bank, he's throwing a split shot with a worm, and I'm catching 2 to 1 on him.
Yes.
And then there was times he's catching 2 to 1 on me, but my fish were bigger than his.
Because of lures.
Because I was fishing artificial.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, and I picked up on that. And then going back to the blueback diamond worm, I remember, vividly that, I was fishing the ski arm, and I'd see Ivino out there, and he'd come by trolling or drifting shad. And God is my witness, Don goes, hey, kid, you're going to have to show me how to do that one of these days. and here am I, I'm 15, 16 years old. I'm just, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just fishing.
Yeah.
This guy, Bill Dance, came out in the West Coast and sold some worms out here. Here I am throwing some worms. I mean, I'm just trying to learn, you know. But my mom used to drop me off at the dock at Castaic, and I'd fish the frickin' side of the dock. I'd fish the rocks and throw a little spinner worm, just a little tiny spinner with a little worm on it. Buy them at Thrifty's for like 59 cents. And that was it, with a little split shot in front, and just slow roll that thing and catch 2-3 pound fish all day at Castaic.
Wow.
My mom did that for me, man. If it wasn't for my mom, they knew, between that, I mean, I love motorcycles and all that, but my mom and dad, they embraced that for me.
Had to keep you in line, man. And that was probably one of the things that kind of like
it focused me, and it's always kept me on center for the most point.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this day, if I didn't have fishing, honestly, I'd be lost.
Yeah.
Seriously, because that's taken me away. It's my sanctuary. Put it to you that way. It's my sanctuary, and it's something it's good. It's a good feeling, and it's something that, as men, we all need a hobby or something to do. Unfortunately, a lot of women don't realize that a man's got to have some private time. I don't care. Hey, get on your bike and go for a ride. Yeah. I mean, get on there and just light it up and go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Go out there. You want to go shoot a gun? Go shoot a gun. You want to go putt. Go driving down.
And it's not that long.
Anything.
You don't need that long, because like yesterday, I'm working on my wife. I'm making her salon in where the studio was, the old studio. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the park lake just for an hour. She's like, why? I'm like, just drop shot, throw it, and see if I can catch something. Fuck it. And just throwing out that, just fucking, that little bit of time was just good enough to me to go, okay, I'm good. I feel good. That was fun.
It's amazing what a few casts can do for you.
Yeah, it felt good.
It's like
right
in the arm.
Hey, what feels even better is if you get that tug and you're like, oh, fuck, that made the whole night. I mean, it's a hard one, right?
People don't understand. It's hard. It's the closest ones to you don't. The closest ones to you don't realize how deep it goes, and then a lot of them don't even hear you sometimes when you speak about fishing or how much passion you got into it. They don't realize how serious this is in your life, and it's life changing. But it will humble you. It will teach you to have patience. And hopefully you can learn some respect out of it too.
No, I agree 100%. And I came in, you got to remember when I started, I was 30 years old, 29 years old. So when I learned there was not really a fishing network. My uncle had been in clubs. He's been in clubs for 30 something years, bass backwards. So he showed me how to catch largemouth. He's great. He's amazing, my uncle. Like, we're supposed to go to Silverwood next week. So it was different. It's crazy because it could change your relationship with a family member. Me and my uncle didn't get along before that a lot. He was just my uncle. We weren't interested in the same shit. Now we talk weekly. Hey, my buddy caught this at Silverwood. Hey, look what I caught. Hey, it could change your life, dude. Like, it really could, because that little thing made me go, wow, I didn't know I enjoyed my uncle that much. And he likes drinking beers, and, we hang out. We go eat after. But little things like that, just with fishing, it's crazy.
But off the water,
yeah.
Just think of what you do off the water when you get together, when you get the guys to get together,
fishing.
Or just talk. but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But then you're talking about life.
Yes.
You're talking about reality. What's going on? And I'll tell you right now, since we're hitting that point, you got to be in a good place right here to be fishing, as far as competitively. To be able to go out there and succeed in anything in life, you got to be good right here. If you're not good right here, you're not going to be 100% and achieving to your best abilities. And that's a fact. And I know that. And when you have somebody behind you or beside you that's for you for the right reasons, that's even icing on the cake. To get that, to find the American dream, I tried it, and it didn't happen.
No,
I lost. But the fact of the matter is, the ones that can succeed in it, they're very few. More power to you, the best of you. But like I say, and I live this to the day, nothing's forever. Nothing. And I say it, and I keep preaching it and saying it. But the fact of the matter is, I see it every day. I've had too many people around me leave this earth more recently, and it's nonstop. So I myself, with this whole COVID, this whole situation, the world we're in right now, is just turned the dial up on me to even more be selfish on myself, for myself, to focus on the next few years of where and what I want to do. And I got some life-changing things happening soon and around me. I got some big decisions to make. I got a lot going on in the fishing end of it too. I'm weighing things out, and I'm going to be doing some things here. I got good things, some really good things happening.
Yeah.
Really good things happening.
I want to talk about some of those good things if we can, but let's go back to the start where you're a tournament angler and you've done it for a minute and you've done it for a long time. Let's talk about that first time you kind of said, how do I do a tournament? How do I get into it?
Well, I never even wanted to pursue it. It just fell in my lap.
Okay.
And that was about 1970. Let's take it back. 74 is when.
And was this a bass tournament?
I'm sorry. I'm going back 73 now. 70,
okay.
73. I actually hired a guide to go on Castaic just for somebody talked me.
Oh, there was a guide, a bass guide.
Well, he wasn't legit. He said he was, but he wasn't real. He wasn't.
Was he good?
He backseated me the whole day. Yeah. Jerry Varva, ex motor cop. His wife outfished him every 2 to 1 every time he went out. He poured his own worms.
Is he still around?
Oh, I doubt. No, I haven't. He's gone. But
he backseated you.
Here I hired him as well. He was recommended to take me out.
Yes.
So I paid my $150,
which is like
and all he
400 now, 500 at least.
But that's a lot of money back.
Fuck yeah, it's still like
in 73, $150. So all he's doing is firing off the tip of the end of the boat, bow of the boat, keeping me on the back end on downward side, and he's every cast. And every now and then I'd be able to kind of whip one around out there and catch a fish here or there. But he caught 5 to my 1.
So you're only caught maybe 10, 20 fish, and you're like...
So this is the crazy part. You know me, I'm naive. What do I know? So he calls me up a couple of days later. Mm-hmm. Hey, you want to fish a tournament next week?
What the fuck? Really?
Blew me away. He goes, you want to fish a tournament? I'm like, what? I go, oh, okay, I guess. Right? Meanwhile, I've already met Dick Gomer. He worked for Fenwick back in the day. Dick Gomer, may he rest in peace, a good man, one of the best spoon fishermen this side of Texas.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from him as just a fisherman, spoon fishing. I'd catch spoonfish in a foot of water to 150 feet. And he taught me that. And I turned around, bought a Fenwick rod put it with 20-pound mono on it. And I went and brought my couple other rods I had, went fishing in this tournament, right? Had a structure, and had haddock structure spoon. That's what I was fishing. Hopkins 75s and haddock structure spoon.
Okay,
those are the only 2 spoons I had. And let me tell you, I'm in the back seat the whole time. We went all the way back up.
Did you, in your head, were you like, okay, I fish with this guy as a guide. I know he's going to take the bow, so I'm going to go deep. Did you just go, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I'm going to do something.
It's already the fall.
Okay.
The shad, there's deep, shallow, both.
Mm-hmm.
We go all the way back into the ski arm. And that in fact, where the buoy line is there,
mm-hmm.
before they put the buoy line, that last cut on the right side was open. We shot right back in there. I think we went back in there and I yanked out like 2 or 3 fish.
Shit.
He didn't catch one. I mean, I was already dialed in. I knew. I mean,
you're what, 18, 19?
No, gosh, I want to say, yeah, probably.
20-ish.
No, not 20. I'm more like about
17, 18.
It was well before.
Okay.
It was about 17, 18 years old, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm in the back and I'm catching fish. And he never caught a one. So we fished, and we went to some spots. We went and fished the island, Ski Arm Island. Mm-hmm. I catch one, he catches one. So I have 3, he had 1. And then we go
But
fish.
it's a combined weight or no?
Combined weight team tournament.
5
fish.
Okay.
And we go to the West Bank and finish the West Bank at the end of the day. So I caught 4 of the 5, right? He caught a couple others, but they were smaller.
Yeah.
So he weighed in 4 of mine and 1 of his. So we weighed in a limit, right? So we got 3rd place. Rich Tauber.
Yes.
World famous Rich Tauber.
Yes.
Wins the tournament. And we're both the same age. I didn't even know it.
Really?
Yeah, we're both the same age. So check this out. So now Tauber wins the tournament, right? And a couple weeks later, through the tackle shop and everything, and people were saying, "Hey, man, I hear you didn't do that good in the tournament." I go, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, you only caught 1."
Oh, fuck.
I said, "What?" "Yeah, you only got 1." I'm like, I think it was the other way around. So I learned really quick how fast you get thrown under the bus. Tournament guys.
Yes.
Trust me, I seen how that happens. It's like, okay, he never asked me to fish another tournament again.
Too good.
Why wouldn't he? You would think, but see, his ego. His ego got the best.
You learned that when
his ego. His ego got the best of him, and I'm like, wow. So it's like, okay, so those little things drive you. It's like, okay, fine, you move on, and I still wasn't driven to fish tournaments. I really wasn't, but it all came into play with just reading the magazines and papers, and just looking into it.
So back then at Castaic, were you fishing? Because how old are you right now?
Old. I'm 62.
Okay. You're older than Butch. How old's Butch? 60?
I don't know.
I don't know. Were you fishing? Do you remember seeing Butch down there?
No.
No?
I fished the Afterbay way back in the day. And that was before a lot of...
Do you remember when people were chasing that one bass? Like they're getting that big 20?
Well, you're going to talk about that whole... The whole... You're going to talk about the whole guide trip, the bait crawdad deals and the 20-pounders.
So I read that
that whole 2-year, 3-year run.
I read that. Is it So Belly? Did you read that book? There's a book. Chris Lillis sent it to me. It's very interesting. It's like, again, has Mike Long. It has a lot of different dudes, the way they did their thing. It's an interesting book, but there's a lot of history there, and you were around that at that time.
I was fishing the lake before it was full. They were putting water in it. I mean, the lake wasn't even. I mean, they were standing timber and just you wouldn't believe.
Do you remember when Bill caught that 20 or 20 something?
I vaguely remember.
Really?
I was tournament fishing, but I wasn't focused on world class or
big
all
bass. You weren't chasing the swim bait fish.
In the big swim bait thing, I was. I'm a working guy. I was always been a working guy, working fisherman. So I had to grind it, and But as far as going back to that period back in the mid 90s, mid 90s to the late 90s, when that all busted loose, early to mid 90s. So I'm gonna say 93, 94. Things were busting loose. It got crazy. You
weren't looking for that, so you didn't really pay attention as much, right?
I seen it around me. I mean, I'm fishing the same water. It's crazy how I would pull off a spot. I'd leave it. I'd go catch a 9, 10, catch a good fish, go weigh it in, or go get a picture if I could, or find somebody to take a picture of me because I didn't carry a camera.
Wasn't like that then.
I didn't.
Yeah. You didn't have an iPhone then, right?
I had nothing to document.
Yeah.
But every now and then I thought, gosh, I got to go catch. I leave the spot and come back, and there's Croupy, Cadota or somebody sitting on the spot I just left. I'm like, oh man, and they're double anchored, throwing 5-gallon buckets of crawdads out, seeding the places, and I'm like, and they had their. What
do you mean that they would chum it?
They milk run it.
How does that? What do you mean by that?
You get 5-gallon buckets of crawdads, man. You soak you soak the sweet spot. And if they don't bite...
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, it's just part of the territory, man.
But yeah, I feel like that's chumming almost.
Whatever you want to call it. Hey, I know where the bodies are buried, bro. Anyways.
You see this brown skin?
I'm just saying.
Brown by suerte, proud by choice, fool.
Yes. And let me tell you, if you want to catch a big fish, people do what they got to do. I mean, when it comes to back then. Okay, people will still do whatever they want to do now. I mean, I've heard some outrageous catches in more recent years.
Yeah.
Not legit though. But I'm just like, I don't even talk about it. I just like, wow, okay. But I'm like,
you've been around so long, you knew that shit was coming, right? Like it's like,
pyramid. I mean, I go out there legitimately catch 3 fish for 60 pounds, and legally. But then I'd see guys slinging Arizona anchovies at me. I'm in the boat. I didn't know what was happening, but I'm in a boat and I'm able to throw.
What are Arizona anchovies?
The old Arizona anchovy, bro. It's a rainbow trout.
No.
So that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic.
I've heard about that too. I mean,
you know what? The truth hurts. You know, the fact of the matter is, truth hurts.
Yeah.
And that's why people don't like me. Truth hurts. Remember,
you don't think people like you?
I'm saying this in general. I don't care from work, any standpoint. Truth hurts.
It does, right?
Facts.
Yes.
And people are afraid. Do people want to hear what's really going on now in the world? Do they really want to know what's happening? People my generation a lot of them don't want to hear it all. Okay, they don't want to hear it. I mean, I've scared people just by some of the intel I got before it hit the press. And it scares people.
Yeah.
But hey, at least I keep my ears open. I'm 360. I'm not 180.
You're like that with fishing.
I'm
too,
360, man. You got to be.
Yeah.
You don't have time to think. Well, you got to shoot from the hip.
So do you have like a couple boys you fish with forever? Your guys. You're here. You have a couple guys you fish with, like, whoever it might be, like these guys I fish with for 20 years. These are my boys.
I don't have anybody that I could tell you that I fish on a regular basis.
Yes.
Things are so hectic and just the way things are. And to be honest with you, I pissed a lot of people off that put in my boat because you fish too fast, you're too aggressive, or they start having a casting contest with you, or they want to beat you. They want to be up against you all day. And it's like, I want to have fun, but it's finding balance.
Do you bring too many guys with big egos on your boat?
No. But just
what I'm saying is like I never go on someone's boat like looking for a contest. But
you have to understand, I've seen all of it with close people too, and it's just their upbringing or this or that, or it's like I just met somebody that just said, dude, I've seen some of your videos, I've seen this, I've seen that. Oh, dude. I go, well, maybe we'll get out. Well, he goes to me, he goes, me and my partner, we're going to fish against you. I said, what? Yeah, we're going to meet you at the lake. I go,
that is so fucking stupid.
So I go, okay, so what is this? Wild Wild West? Okay, Corral?
And this is what you said. Do you know who I am? I'm the Mexican Doc Holiday, motherfucker. Hey, I'm in a Huckleberry.
Honestly, I didn't want to have to patch him up at the end of the day. Honestly, I just felt sorry for the guy. Seriously though, I want to have fun. I don't want to put unnecessary stress. And look, we can all get our butt kicked any given time of the day. I don't care who you are. We all have good days, bad days. I seen guys show up at the lake, didn't even know what they were doing, and go to their first bank and bang a 20-pound limit, and they're like, I'm just casting a purple worm, hits the bank, boom. You know what I mean? That's fishing.
Right.
What can I say?
Right, yeah.
But I want to have fun. No matter what, I want to have fun. And here's the way I look at it. I take people fishing. It turns out to be a guide trip. I'm trying to catch them fish. I'm stressed or pressured to catch them fish. I feel like, I really got to prove myself.
Why do you feel like that?
You feel like you got to prove yourself and do. When I go fishing by myself, it's just low key, and I'll sit there and I'll regroup. And I'll just stop for a minute and just rewind and just like, okay, I'll reboot myself and just boom, go back out. But if I can do that alone. It's hard to do it when you got somebody you know really well that knows you as a friend, and you want to catch them, you want to put them on. So and I'm trying to get that back, my mentality, my body 20 years back and go through that again. I can't do all that. Yeah. It's not easy to rewind that far back and duplicate that. And it's, you have to adjust. And the thing is, I just want to have fun, basically. I'm having fun. I catch a lot of good fish. Put it to you this way. I do catch a lot of good fish. I'm very fortunate and very blessed. And I don't care if it's on big bait or conventional in between. I've been very gifted to catch. I mean, I just teased you a little bit just recently with some recent stuff.
You did some big fish, dude.
I mean, those were pre and post COVID.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just fortunate, but I know I target. I mean, I target the fish. I try to figure out where, time, certain things, and try to intercept those fish. And let me tell you, you know, most people are they're sitting on the fish. They're running them over.
Yeah.
They're not really, they're all looking at the next guy, what he's doing, and they're all replicating. You know, they're trying to replicate, and they're trying to fish that guy's pattern, that guy's fish. And that don't work.
I feel like that's more for a big bait fish type thing, you know, like where you're trying to a little? No? Am I wrong?
I won't say that completely, but you know, there's approaches. There's approaches when it comes to throwing, you know, big bait, drawing big bites. And when
I say that, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I just look at what I see from people, so I kind of go, hey, if someone's going to do something, maybe they'll follow that guy's lead. Now, my next question to you is, when did you say, hey, I want to focus on big bait fish? Because you kind of did that. You kind of led a path for that too. You were involved with, I mean, Oliver, dude, that's a big deal. That guy has done great. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like you've talked to him a lot too, right?
Well, yeah, but that was just for not that long of a time either. That was more of a, you know, he heard some things about me and wanted to pursue my story and certain things about me, you know, my history, local history and knowledge and this and that, you know. But my big bait thing goes back. I mean, you know, I wanted to do it up north. I wanted to do it in the tournament thing.
And what year was this?
Oh, gosh, that was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And the thing about that is that, you know, I got to thank Mark Higashi for that part of it, you know. He brought me in the mix on that. And, I mean, I had the big bait.
What were you using then?
I mean, back then, that's another one I'm here to get me. It's a tongue twister for me. That was the one bait that I used. In fact, Mark hooked me back up. That was the one that Ken and what's his name with triple trout? I'm terrible with names. I can't remember. No. I can't. All I'm going to say is that they were collaborating together back in the day, and they made the first real legit swim bait back in the day.
That was
Soft
triple
bait.
trout.
No, it wasn't.
Huddleston?
Neither name. I can't even tell you the name of the bait.
Osprey?
No. You don't even know the name then.
I can't. Well, thanks for making me look like a fucking
wrote
asshole.
I should have wrote
God,
it. I should have wrote it down. But that's the bait that I caught my first 7 pound. My first swim bait fish was 7 pounds.
Wow.
First. That popped my cherry quick.
What year?
And that was I believe that was 2000. I want to say either it was fall. It was New Year's Eve 99 or it was New Year's Eve 2000.
So then
I should know the date, but me and Mark went to Piru, and we were done for the day. Didn't do worth a darn.
Piru's the one in Ventura.
Yeah, off the 126 backside.
I fucking hate that lake, man.
It's a tough lake. It's a tough lake, humbling lake, but predominantly it had all northerns in it at once. That's a whole nother story, but and I supposedly had the lake record too.
Did you?
But I didn't.
7?
No, lake record.
How big?
Bob's Taxidermy. Well, actually, Bob's Taxidermy. Because I have a witness too. Ray Cruz was with me when I caught it. He wanted me to go and weigh it in, but I'm not going to put it on a scale that's been rusted out, sitting on the dock. That's going to weigh. It's going to say 8 pounds on it. I mean, this fish was legitimate. 25 and a quarter length by 20. Oh gosh, I want to say 24 3/4 girth.
So what do you think what should equal to?
I got all the dimensions, but Bob calculated it. He said I have a 15 pound I have a 15 pound mount that'll be perfect for it. He goes, legitimately, he goes, that fish could be easy 16. He goes, well, we'll make it. He goes, well, I don't want to make it something much bigger. than what it is. So I went for the small end of it. I went for a solid 15 pound amount.
Did you guys weigh it on the boat?
No, my scale only went up. My digital scale that I have, my tournament scale, went up to 10 pounds. So believe me, I changed that. I don't. But the fact of the matter is, I released the fish, caught on a spinnerbait, and released it. Everything was documented, but I wasn't going to publicize it and burn.
Oh, you know who told me? Mark told me. I told him a story about for my birthday last year. That's where I went fishing. I saw a bear, dude. And it fucking charged at me into the water. It fucking was looking at me.
It's got to be the same bear that was going after me.
Motherfucker, dude. I had my trolling motor down. I'm like, let's get closer to my buddy. We're drinking beers already. And he's like, all right. And the motherfucker goes, "Whew." And I'm like, oh, shit. And I tried to turn. Like, we would have been fucked. That thing would have got so quick to us. Like, it's all those. So my uncle told me one thing. When you see stick-ups, you throw spinnerbaits. And I had a whole thing of stick-ups back in this little
shallow. You were in the shallow.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I thought in my head, my uncle's like, the spinnerbaits, I'm throwing the fuck out of it. Got a couple bites, like. But then I saw the bear, and then we said, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Fuck this.
I have a bear story, too. And he...
Same thing?
Pretty much. And he got within about 30, 40 feet of me.
Scary.
Yeah, and he got up on the rock. Literally, I saw this bear 400 or 500 yards away, and I'm on the north end of the lake, and this bear, he followed the trail. So stupid me, I'm going to get a picture. I had my camera. At that time, I had a camera. I pulled my boat up right on the bank. I'm in 1.5 feet of water, if that. And this bear comes up, and he smelled me. Soon as I'm a old school recurve bow hunter.
All right.
So I knew the wind was going to blow. He was going to catch wind of me. He smelled me. He looked at me. He literally came down, got on his all fours, and just looked at me. The hair on his neck stood up. I was taking pictures. Man. By the time I realized, I thought,
you put the camera down. You're like, oh shit.
I look behind me. I'm like, this water's shallow, and he can just mow me down. I mean, I'm just like, what? If I had fish on the boat, that would have been a different story.
Fucked. Yeah, that would have been it.
Different story. But that was my encounter with that particular bear, and it had scars on it too. And it was that bear was every bit of close to 300 pounds. Shit. It was this was a big old bear that was just scarred up. It's a brawler, You
used to fish that lake a lot, though, huh?
Yeah, I did my damage on that lake. I groomed myself for tournament fishing on that lake. I literally, that's how I groomed myself.
It's a hard lake.
Huh?
Do you think it's a hard lake to fish?
For me, it wasn't. I mean, it's humbling. It is humbling, but it was versatile. It made me the fisherman that I am today because it prepped me for the fish, the big water, and the travel. So I was able to be very versatile, and that was the only lake that we really had that you can do that. Because it had the clear water, it had the stain water. It had everything that you wanted to do, but it had black bass, pure strain black bass. Mm-hmm. Not Florida's black bass. And that's what grew me to fish up north, to fish the black bass predominantly. And then they introduced the Floridas. And then guys getting blown off at Castaic because of the wind, they thought, well, let's bring some Floridas over to Piru. Then they screwed that all up. So they screwed up the gene pool on the northern bred, end of it. So there's a lot of things that happen. There's native trout in Piru that would come down the creek too. I've caught them. Forked tails, beautiful, beautiful trout.
Wow.
But I mean that fishery. That's another fishery that somewhat died too, and a lot. Drought. The drought has affected the whole western United States. Now we got El Nino. We got our weather's changed. We don't have seasons like we had before.
No,
we're getting more like the East Coast. I'm relating more like Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean we went from a late winter rain to a few weeks of, if you want to call it spring.
Shit, right?
And then we went into August.
Fuck, right.
We went right into August, right? I mean, come on, tell me. And you don't think these fish are effed up? I mean, come on. And then I'm telling people, figure it out. We're a month behind. Everything's a month behind.
Yeah.
Just last year, we were like 6 weeks behind. This year, we're a good month behind. But there's been such a change. I was at Diamond Valley Thursday, and I didn't see one ball of fry.
How many boats were in line?
I'll put it to you this way. It wasn't bad.
No, really? It wasn't.
Everybody got there when I got there. And it was like 30 boats behind me in a matter of 10 minutes.
What time did you get there at?
I can't tell you.
Well, San Diego Lake's open, so it's not going to be like that anymore, right?
San Diego Lake's what?
Opened.
When?
I heard they opened today. Or no, this week. Last week.
No.
They didn't?
No.
Am I wrong? This isn't going to come out for another fucking week, Kelly. Come on.
I'm not aware of it.
No, I'm serious. I heard that San Diego Lake's opened, so it should calm down.
That's not what I heard.
Really?
But
Paris isn't open still.
Why are there San Diego guys going to DVL?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It should calm down.
That was last Thursday.
Well, hopefully. Oh man, fuck.
So I'm just from the reports,
30 guys that quick, dude.
There were 30 boats behind me in less than 10 minutes.
Shit.
I mean, it's like everybody's on the same schedule. I have to get up at 2:45, 2:50 in the morning to go fishing.
That's what I usually do, though.
It's a joke.
Go to DVL.
And I'm going to crash on the way home. You know, I'm going to end up on the same. You guys going to see me in a ditch.
You live in Garden Grove down this way, right? So when you drive home from Skinner, it's the most fucked drive ever.
How about when they were working on the interchange?
Oh God, dude!
I had 2 windows got blown out. All the gravel trucks, dude. I got cut off. I don't know how many times. It was like I'm gonna die.
And you got one eye open.
I'm gonna die fishing. I'm gonna die on the road.
Oh,
and
shit.
it's like I'm the first one there, or the last one to leave, and it's like trying to find. And then they close the freeways on the way home. You're getting,
man.
Dude. I went through that for how many years?
What about Silverwood? You never hit Silverwood?
I love Silverwood.
It's a great lake, right?
But that road going in and out's deadly, man. I don't know how many times people cross over the line. I cross over a little bit, dude. I heard it's even worse now.
Shit.
That's my biggest fear is that road.
Yeah.
And I'm heavy on the pedal.
Going fast, huh?
I mean, I'm heavy on
What boat do you fish out of right now?
521 VX.
Wow.
One of the best Rangers they ever made.
Look at you.
Actually, the best Ranger they ever made. As far as I ran a 519, and that was a fast.
How long have you
boat.
had that for?
I got a 204 right now, a VX21 with a high performance 250 on it.
Wow.
Fastest boat, stable boat I've ever had. It's phenomenal.
Let's get back to big baits. We fucking have gone on a tangent again, like usual. I do with people, especially the brown guys. You know Matty G?
Actually, I don't.
We got to do a group one with him.
I see him out there. He's a character. He's
a brown brother like you.
He's a what do I want to call him? He's
a compa, fool.
I know, but he's a hunter. He's a fisherman. He's an outdoorsman.
Yes,
he's an outdoorsman,
and that's why
a modern day outdoorsman, so to speak. Okay?
And that's why I liked when we talked. He told me about the whole. Like, I knew he was a big bait guy and, like, he does a guide service out there, but he talked about the carp thing, and I'm like, oh, wow. Then he talked about hunting, and I'm like, oh, wow. Very interesting guy. Like, and he's a brown brother, Mexican like me. So then I get to send him. He's a fucking comedian, too. Like, I tell him funny shit. Like, we'll put funny shit back and forth. So we got to do a Mexican roundtable, bro. So we'll get all of us together.
You're trying to start a revolution?
Yeah, right.
Hey, you're looking at a patriot here, okay?
I know. I can tell.
I'll carry
fucking Cesar Chavez over here.
I'm going to carry the flag, and I'm going to have in both hands.
He's going to have 2 elotes in both fucking hands like that,
No,
right?
strapped.
Oh, fuck, dude. But let's get back to your big bait.
Well, you can take me over the edge of the bridge again. I warned you.
So... 2099, you got into the big bait thing. Who kind of pushed you that direction?
Nobody pushed me in it. Just that
you were already doing it.
I
but
had
you didn't
access.
Focus.
I was fishing the big stuff with stripers back in the 80s.
Okay,
big baits for stripers back. My biggest mistake was not transferring what I did for the striper for the bass.
Okay,
because I was fishing tournaments in between, and then that's what that whole thing. It was like the commitment. That was the whole thing. And then the boys up north, You don't want to be throwing those things up here.
Was it super redneck up there at the
But
time?
I'm just talking.
At the time, was it redneck?
I'm just saying, you're going to spend all your time throwing those things up here? I mean, I'm just saying. It's
the most redneck town I ever been to. I went on tour with my band. You ever heard of Reading?
My buddy just left Reading. He just got out of Reading and went to Idaho to get away from the crap.
My cousin lives up there. He looks just like you. White hair.
I've heard that before.
Dude. Mexican. You know, he's like, yeah, it's a little fucking racist up. I went up there, dude. I never seen swastikas on someone's fucking sweater. And I'm like, I'm 21. I'm like, look at this fucking asshole with swastikas. And they started yelling at us. And this old guy's like, hey, maybe you boys should get out of here. I'm like, they're yelling at me. They're fucking racist.
They carry guns up there. You're outnumbered and outgunned. Remember
just get out of there, huh?
No, I'm just telling you.
No, right.
I've had some shit, but Jay just tell me, Kelly, leave it alone. Just ignore it. Leave it alone. And Jay, he had his people up there, but he knew what
Jay's who?
Jay Tidmore, a good friend of mine.
Okay.
He was my non-boater as far as the
that's who you'd fish with
back in the pro-ams back in the day, and then he went boater, and then we fished against each other. Good dude. Construction guy.
Your boy, yeah.
We've been around, we're like brothers. We're tight, you know. He's doing his thing.
So you were throwing big baits up there.
I threw baits. I threw the big bait, but I didn't focus and I commit myself like I should have. If I did, I would have been on the leading edge of that, and I didn't have it all in here to do it. And I knew timing. I knew the percentages, and it's a numbers game. I knew that, but I was good fishing conventional, and hey, I go places I never fished before. They give you 2 days to fish, but out of the 2 days, you're only really fishing a day and a half. And go travel 300, 400, 500, 600 miles, and go get ready and fish against the first generation pro field that you read about and you always dreamed about, and you seen them in the papers, the magazines, and go up against them. And I did it. I had an opportunity, and it was fun. I have no regrets. I'm glad I did what I did.
Was that ABA or was it
West Coast Bass? One bass back there was Western Bass way back in the day. Those were draw tournaments. Those weren't pro-ams. It's a boat on boat draws. You flip a coin, I win. You're going with me in my boat. Fuck. And that's the way it is.
Oh, so. And you both had a boat. It depends on who's
you're dragging your boat where you pre-fish and you drag your boat and flip a coin, and then whoever gets the win on the coin.
And that means you could not fish.
And
you're
in the back of the boat.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
But did anyone ever use a trick coin?
But
had to. I fucking would have.
But then you're supposed to share the boat.
Yeah.
Which didn't always happen.
No.
And these guys are trying to. You get a guy knows the Delta rat, Clear Lake rat. You're gonna want to be fishing with that guy, having him taking you around.
No,
but
of course.
The thing about it is that they'll go and catch their fish, and then they're gonna burn the clock the rest of the day. A lot of those guys would do that, and then just put you in no man's land. So that's why you had to have your homework and do your own thing, because these guys will take you.
What about when they stopped fishing and you're like, "What the fuck, man? Let's go here." Would you tell them something?
It's not a question of stop fishing. No, there wasn't.
No, they would take you to no man's land. So would
but
you
I'm
go?
saying they'll do that to you.
Okay.
And that's when you put your foot down and say, "Hey, this is where we're going. Take me over here." But the sad part about it is that you may have water 20 miles over here. He's got water 10 miles over here, whatever. The time frame, all that, you got it's a give and take kind of situation too. But that really groomed me too. But when I realized really quick my first pro-am I fished, I drew Jim Lyon from Reno, Nevada. Good dude. He's still fishing. God bless him. And he showed me a lot. But what I learned really quick is that really, really quick, because I groomed myself for this game. I was blessed to be able to have some decent tackle, not the best, but decent tackle. And I went up against these guys, and here I am as a backseater or a non-boater, so to speak, and vice versa. But I'm like, man, I got the same tackle. I got my boat's the same.
Yeah,
I could do this. So it only took me a couple tournaments as a pro-am to jump in the front seat.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can do this. And it was crazy because these guys would take me pre-fishing. I was catching fish behind them, and these guys been there, done that, and I don't know what I'm doing. I just read the magazines or try to figure it out. And I'm in the back, or they'd tell, hey, man, don't stick them. We're practicing right now. And then I'd say, hey, I'm getting bit. And I'm getting 3-1 on them bites. And I'd say, what do I do? Oh, set the hook. And every time you set the hook, I catch a 3 or a 5. Oh, dude, why did you? That's like, well,
don't stick them.
You told me to. You told me to. You know, I mean, how many times I went and they took me in Rodman Slough. Well, don't stick them. Okay, they tell you that at first, and I'm getting bit. I'm just getting tore up. I'm getting bit. You're getting that many bites? I go, yeah. Okay, stick one, and then they get mad at you.
Did you start fishing the hooks then?
I always fished with hooks.
Even pre-fished.
Pre-fit. Well, if I'm throwing a reaction bait, then I'll have them bent in or cut off or whatever. But as long as it doesn't impede on the action of the bait.
Yes.
But I mean, I have search baits and baits to draw, the funnel and draw fish, at least to show. I
love
face.
You said that the funnel.
That'll funnel fish and draw them in, and that's how you show their face, so to speak. And those. So
you funnel the fish in.
You can so
this is the only reason I asked that. I've never heard anyone say that before.
You need
Semental, the funnel. He says funneling
because you got to look at the way the lakes are made up, the points, pockets, and the flow, the water, everything. And those fish, if you fish long enough and figure it out and read the water, you'll see the fish pull. They'll pull. You can pull a fish out of areas, and they'll only come so far to you, and then they turn around and go back. But they show their face.
Do you think guys fished out that long and not figure shit out like that? You know, like
you gotta. I'm a Capricorn, dude. We freaking
because
I want to freaking build a new freaking table for you right now.
No,
you know?
but
I'm just saying.
I get what you're saying, but I'm like, man, between you and Bill and Butch. The way you guys talk about shit, I'm like, fuck, man, it's like a different language. It's like you guys sit there and you go, okay.
It's just deep. You got to get deep, man. It's just time on the water, just depth, perceptions, and to me, the sun, angles, lighting, all that, shade. There's so much to it. But it's basic. It comes basic, and it's just rules of the game when you go out. Time of day, okay. You know, when you launch a certain time of day, okay, well, I'm going to be fishing on this side of the bank, or I'm going to
because you're looking for the shade,
or I'm looking for the
shadows,
you gotta. It's pretty basic. It really barometer, moon.
You go off barometer.
You put all that in there.
Right.
I'm saying that's all icing on the cake. Positive, negative, either way. You can even go by the best moon phase and then go out there and have a tough day.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's crazy. But that's how it works sometimes. But the windows of opportunity, you got to know when to be there for the windows of opportunity. And a lot of people are already gone by then. You know, they're either, most of them leave by noon or 1 o'clock. But there are
4 o'clock was.
There are peak times throughout the day.
Yeah,
throughout the day there are peak times.
And you know, one dude that kind of showed me that, like I didn't think about it, and I'm going to praise this guy all the time. This is Seth Niswanger. Young kid, 22, but he's like, I'm like, where are you going fishing? It's fucking 12, bro. He's like, yeah, it's going to blow. Or something like that. He'll tell me something. I'm like, oh, fuck, and he'll catch fish. And I'm like, wow, it's like, you do your homework even if you're young, you know.
It's just,
you could figure that shit out.
It's just like, knowing the windows and the clock and when to do that too. But, problem is we don't have accessibility like a lot of other people do either. We have to deal with the gridlock. You can't be in a lake in a half hour, 45 minutes.
Unless you live up north or you live by the
And then we're very limited. And then we got restrictions. We got quarantines. You're gonna get me really pissed off when we start talking about that shit, okay? Because right now it's all about money. Okay, it's sad, but it's all about freaking money, agendas, politics, money. And the fact of the matter is, 90+% of the lakes have the clogwas in them, and that's a fact. And eventually, hopefully, within a few years, they will just say, "Hey, okay,
Fuck it.
Except for Casitas.
You got to get fucking
Arrowhead.
Hey,
Arrowhead.
Casitas, you got to get blown.
You know,
you got to get that washed down. 7 days, come back, right?
It's a 30 day, and then there's, I think it was a 30 to 45 day quarantine for your first time, I believe. But once that place, I think that place, gosh, did it just open? I think it just opened up, or it's opening up. It's opening up this week.
So
that's the place to be. Tell you right now.
I talked to Fred Clinshaw.
No,
he's a guide for Casitas. He's a great guy, awesome, fun dude. And I talked to him. He's a Castaic guy now too, but I had a trip planned with him last year, and he does really good. But I got.
You don't need to tell me. I mean, I know the lake good enough, and I know, and especially supposedly they're saying there's a ton of water on the lake now.
Yeah.
So I don't know the details, but I said just the little that I know and how this lake has been setting up. Yeah, it's a sleeper right now. Those guys out there, they got it made. This is going to be an epic year for them. Last year was setting up pretty good, but this year is going to be even better. And they're stocking trout, you know. So things are looking up. Unfortunately, for the majority of us, the majority of lakes, a lot of lakes are on declines. Populations are down.
You think down this way it's a little worse? Quality
fish.
This way,
big fish.
It's a
big fish. I'll tell you right now, an 8 to 9 pound fish is like an 11 to 13, how it used to be.
Do you think down like in Riverside, the lakes this way? That's how it is.
Decline is. Now, when it comes to Paris, it's a different story. Paris, to me, it's got a big population. It's got a bigger population of those double digits.
Do you think the next good fish is going to come out of Paris?
Oh, there's
because like it's closed right now. Like, dude,
that has nothing to do with it. It's the way the lakes are being made, the makeup on the lakes, and the way the water's coming in.
Okay,
you're not getting all different kinds of water coming into Paris. They screwed up DVL. They brought DVL got, I believe, Colorado River water and aqueduct water.
What about Skinner?
And they've got both before too.
Okay.
But the makeup and the way what happened over at DVL though is once they introduced both bodies of water and just the way that affected the lake, as far as biologically speaking, and just the whole makeup. It really put a hurt to the fishery. And there was a big decline a few years back. And then you got all these toxic algae blooms that we have now that we never had before. Yeah, right. So there's a lot of things happening out here. We've had toxic algae blooms before, but never to the magnitude that they have now. And we have a higher population of people, more bacteria. Paris, Castaic. I mean, there's a lot of times that you shouldn't even be touching the water because of the bacteria level, and then they close the lakes down. Yeah. Okay, I mean, I've witnessed and seen some nasty stuff at Castaic. I mean, I won't swim in that lake. I mean, I there was times I would go in there and swim and jump in the water, but after busy weekends and seeing what I've witnessed floating and seeing on the bank, I mean, dirty diapers. I mean.
Hey, you know where I won't swim? The ocean.
Lake.
Ocean. You fish the wall? You fucking know.
Wall.
Fuck that place, bro. The wall is fucking dirt. Long Beach is dirty as fuck, bro.
I love the wall,
dude. The fish there, right? You do Calico? You'll go. We do the little fun thing where everyone goes out and you go out with Kenny, huh? Sometimes.
A couple times. Yeah, I like to go out and get stung by sculpin.
Did you get stung recently?
Right through the thumb.
Oh, fuck.
Right through the thumb, and it stopped at my fingernail. Felt great.
How long ago was that?
I think it was January, sometime around January.
Really? How long did that hurt for?
Actually,
did you piss on it?
No.
That's what you heard. You're supposed to piss on it.
I sat in the boat and just
no alcohol, huh?
I dealt with it.
Hey, no alcohol or nothing.
I dealt with it on the boat for like 2 hours, and then we went in. I mean, we were already on the water for a couple hours. I wasn't going to ruin the trip. But by the time I realized, Mark goes, "Oh, that's a nice calico." And I bounced it up on top of the kelp.
Gotcha.
And I was going to do the swing and do this with the line and drop down and put my thumb in it. Mm-hmm. No sooner than I had it in mid-motion coming at me, Mark goes, after he said that was a nice sculpin, he goes, "Oh, shit." and my thumb's out there ready to drop in the mouth. It spins around and the back dorsal fin goes right through me. Ooh, right through my thumb and stopped at the freaking nail. And I was like, you didn't get stung. Yeah, I was wearing really commercial grade latex gloves.
Gotcha.
Actually, I like fishing those commercial grade latex gloves in the wintertime when it's cold and it's damp and wet, rainy. Mm-hmm. Dude, it keeps your hands warm.
Right.
And you're right there. You got the touch, the feel. But I fished it at night. That one night I fished it with those guys, and Mark goes, "Oh, you didn't get stung. Oh, you didn't get stung." I go, "Oh, I didn't get stung, huh?" Pull that glove off, squeeze the blood. I start squeezing the blood out, dude.
Cough your piss, bro.
I didn't fall asleep till 4:30 that morning. The 4:30 that morning after soaking in boiling hot water for like an hour and a half.
Shit.
Under the sink, just hot as I can stand it, and hot. And finally, I was able to endure that. It took me 3 months to recover from it because of all the skin from the tip of my finger was dying off.
Shit,
dying,
dude.
just literally just dying, decaying off, and it was dead. Tingling, stingy, and dead. I lost the sense on my finger for a long time. Recently, the last few weeks, I could just feel a little residual to it right now.
Hey, thank God that wasn't your finger blasting finger. You know,
it wasn't within my real good finger.
Yeah, that's the one you handle.
Yeah, that's for delicate situations.
Hey, so let's get back to
where are we going?
I want to know about your PB swim bait fish.
PB swim bait fish.
Yeah. So build up to it. So when you talk about fishing, you said, hey, you got to have the heart.
Fish.
You got to have the heart.
I've caught so many. I mean, just.
So when you were in the mode,
I wasn't.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not writing the list down.
No.
But I mean, I got to a point where it was just like.
How about your most memorable swim bait fish where you're like, wow, that's the one.
You have to realize too, I caught a lot of those 8 to 10 pound class fish that I could see. Those teeners, I can't say I've hooked.
So your PB's not on a swim bait?
No.
What is it on?
Spinnerbait.
Fuck,
Spinner
I like
bait.
that.
Spinnerbait.
And that's how big? 14?
That's 15 to 16.
That's the Pyre
15, 16, yeah, on the spinnerbait. But I've flipped them. I've stuck them as big as 15, 16, flipping. I mean, I've had the so-called supposedly unofficial lake record for Clear Lake, pre-fishing for a One Bass Pro-Am way back in the day when One Bass just started. I'm in the back of the boat. Kim Manning's, we're pre-fishing, and we're under this old dock. Dude, and we're coming around. Kim's throwing a rattle bait, and I'm pitching under this old dock. It's got like 12 by 8s, 12 by 10s sunk off the edge of the dock, facing out towards the main lock, and some of them are broken out. It's an old dock. And he's throwing his rattle bait, and I'm in there pitching. Dude. Hey, Kim, I'm bit. What do I do? Dude, this fish is on it, and it's taking off.
What size line did you have? Do you remember?
20 pound.
20 pound mono?
Yeah, and I lay into it, bro. I lay into it, and this fish, I'm like, hey, this is a big one, Kim. This fish, I had the drag button down. This fish was so freaking big. It literally, I'm about 3 feet from the dock. I mean, with the boat on parallel. It literally it pushed the boat right up against the freaking dock, the pilings. And luckily it was open in the dock. It's a high dock, so it's like 6 feet high.
Yeah.
So I'm underneath the freaking dock with this. I got like a bull on the end of it, a pit bull, and I'm with 3 feet of line, and I'm like, and this fish is just roping me.
Yeah.
I don't have him. He's got me. He's roping me.
Yeah.
I'm on a freaking 60-second bull ride, okay, dude, and I'm like, and Kim is like, oh shit. He literally jumped from the bow of the boat, stood side by side. He goes, oh my God, and I crank. He goes, bring that fish up. I bring the fish up. I mean, I literally put my thumb on the spool and brought this fish up. He literally came up like a freaking submarine, just right on the top of the water. His freaking back was that wide across.
Shit.
Kim goes, dude, That's over. That's a lake record. No sooner than he did that, this fish just whoosh, went down. He showed himself and went down and went right through the opening cutout on the 12 by 8s, 12 by 10s. Went right through and then I'm like, no way, he ain't getting away. I put my finger on the thumb, popped the hook, opened the hook, straightened the hook out.
Fuck. On a spinnerbait?
No, flipping.
I'm sorry, flipping.
Dude, flipping. Just opened the hook up. I was like, shit. He goes, dude. That's his favorite word. Dude.
Dude.
That's all I heard. Dude, do you know how big that was? You just had the lake record. I had no idea what the lake record was. I'm just pre-fishing.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. 60 seconds, whatever I had. It wasn't long, but just long enough to see it. If he had a long enough handle net, we could have put it in the boat.
Yeah.
But as far as, swim baits, lots of decent fish,
Yeah.
But, I didn't fish it exclusively.
No.
I fished the windows of opportunity, and I knew when.
You read the water, like you said.
You read the water, but, you got to. But
okay.
You get to a point, lake levels dictate when you're going to throw certain baits to. Remember that, lake levels. Okay, time of year too. There's so many things that come into play. Back then we had more opportunities because of the trout stockings, and I kept it simple and basic too. I mean, we didn't have a lot of options back in the day either too. Okay, we really didn't. Very, very limited. But I should have taken my striper baits and my applications and transferred that over a little bit more to Castaic instead of, and then I'm focusing on traveling and going up north and fishing conventional tackle and doing that. But then you got guys like Byron Velvick that frickin', he took the swim bait and did a number on that back in the day. And I was there during those times, I mean, I seen the best of the best. I mean, I fished against Yellis Murray on the Colorado River. I fished against them up north, and that whole generation, those guys, that was West Coast guys, the early pioneers that transformed from West Coast to United States, basically national. They went all over and fished, and it was great. But I'm glad I was there. I was glad to experience it, glad to be around it and see all of it, different ways and angles, and I mean, just to see it. I mean, just to see how people's lives changed. I've seen a lot of them change. I broke bread with some of the biggest people, been around with some of the best people, best fishermen, and just listening. I'd rather just keep my mouth shut and just hear what they have to say. And that's how I've been pretty much. I was telling you about that big fish that I caught, and it wasn't even a big fish. The so-called largest big fish option for team fishing. That I just came up. It's like, dude, I was like fishing a team tournament that my buddy goes, let's fish this tournament. You know, so we go and fish it, and Aaron Martins is standing behind me signing in. And he came out, and he was already...
Which is wild. You're like, fuck.
And I mean, back then, you never know who was going to show up. But, Aaron was already branching out and doing his thing and being very successful. So here, Ron Cervenka's hosting. He's the weighmaster. Mm-hmm. And I don't know actually who was the actual organization then. But we fished and had so many different types of tournaments that were offered to us. And a lot of them, a good majority of them didn't even give a trophy out. You just got a piece of paper, a placard paper, inscription, and then you got a check. Yeah. And I take those and just throw them in the trash and go cash my check. The paper didn't mean nothing to me. I was just like, okay, cool, but what am I going to do with that? But not to just discriminate, but it's just that I was just like, okay. So I ended up fishing the tournament. I had a game plan and stuck to it and went and fished the west face banks during the summertime where all the shade was and run and gun with the Michael and the Sammy. Dude, and I was on them. I got on them, and the shad were in the back. They were all corralled back there. The bass were chewing on them. I was on a spot that had 3 and 4 pounders, and I ended up sticking a 4 out of there.
Wow.
And my partner was just twisted up, and he was spun out and just couldn't put it together. And all I needed him to do is catch 1 fish. Shit. Bottom line is I put 2 in the boat, and then we fished around all day. I think I ended up catching another one. We caught 3 fish. I was going to leave. Ron Cervenka goes, no, stick around. Because you got a check coming.
Yeah.
I was like, a check? I'd go, check for what? I ended up, I think it was $1,100 or $1,200 for a $10 option.
Dude, that's nice.
Dude, I mean,
right?
You got, Ron says, I just want to let you all know, from my understanding, that this is the largest big fish payout option I've ever seen here on the West Coast. I had no freaking idea.
Wow.
You know? And there's so many milestones of me catching all these fish in tournaments that I forgot. But I got to a point I was trying to calculate and look at I was like every other tournament I was cashing a check for a big fish option.
Yeah.
It was just like I've been blessed. You know, no matter where I went under all these different conditions.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just I'm fortunate for it. Very fortunate to do that.
No, I think you're a very talented dude. You're not fortunate. You put your time in.
Yeah, but I'm saying I'm fortunate to get it because I know they don't come easy. But I've been very fortunate to like when I was fishing the Pro-Ams up north. It's like, guys, I'd always try to be the last one in because I wanted to take up every minute possible I could consume casting on the water. Yes. And I mean, I was running a champion back then, and I made the hardest white knuckle rides. I mean, I scared the shit out of plenty of people. I mean, literally, and I'm lucky. I mean, seriously, I ended up in a rice field one time.
Fuck, man.
Doing about 70 off the Delta.
Shit.
I took a wrong turn, and I'm in a foot of water in a rice field. Shit. Dude, that I have one opening that I'm heading at now, and it's a levee, and it's only about 8 or 10 feet wide.
Shit.
Dude, and all I saw was this opening. And I don't know how much water.
Did you trim up? You're like fucking.
Of course I'm trimmed up, but the fact of the matter is that I don't know what's underneath that levee, that opening.
Yeah.
How much draft I mean, how much? What do I got?
It could be 7 inches. Who knows?
Exactly. But I'm coming out into.
Hey,
I'm coming out to.
Did it pan out? Did it pan out?
I'm coming out to a main channel. Visualize that. A channel with boats traveling, and I'm gonna just shoot through that like an arrow. At 70 miles an hour.
You're going fast as fuck.
My balls ended up in my throat. My partner.
Hey, did it pan out, though?
That's my partner, the partner I had today, he's not even alive. He passed away. He passed away.
Yeah.
And I scared the shit out of him. I said, if we make it through, I thought in my head, if we make it through the levee, that's just part of it. But if we don't hit somebody or somebody don't hit us, we're that's great. And we made it through. And my partner was so pissed off to me. He said, I have never seen anybody do anything like that. I said, what do you want me to do? Shut it down? And then what? We're going to be stuck.
You got to get there, right?
And we're not weighing it. And then I cashed a check that tournament too.
Yeah.
It's just the craziness. I mean, I wrecked my 519. I spun that out and ended up on a freaking granite mountain, at Shasta at 50 miles an hour. Dude, I've had a couple incidents. But some close call. I ended up on the back end of a guy's boat one time too, on the corner of it. This guy shut down on me on the Delta right in front of me.
Fuck.
I learned you don't fall. But we had a big. What do they call those rigs, what do they call those working rigs that they have? They're floating.
A Delta?
They're floating rigs. Yeah, they got a crane on them. Barge, floating barge. We got a floating working barge coming at us on a channel, main channel, one of the off channels. It's a good sizable channel.
Yeah.
And I'm in a tournament, and this dude shuts down right in front of me. Literally shuts down. And if I would have went further out, dude, I had a roller coming at me at about 6 feet high. So now I'm like, what do I do? And I never thought this guy was going to shut down that hard. and it's almost like he put it in reverse. And I'm climbing up like this, and I never saw his boat. I lost sight of this dude's boat, and I'm turning the wheel and going like this so I can kind of buy some time and maneuver it and slow it down. And I just caught the back end corner of his boat and just fractured a little bit of his gel coat.
Shit.
But it could have been worse. All I remember his partner looking at me, and when I'm coming down, and his partner just looking at me. If I would have, can you imagine another 5 feet? Yeah, I would have been
Done.
I would have 5-6 feet. I could have been on top of him, But those are things that happen, and experiences, and we all have such close calls. But
I agree.
I've seen it, been through it, and I've walked away from it. I should have been dead a long time ago. I crashed my Porsche at over 110 miles an hour. So,
You live hard, bro. You live hard.
Motorcycles, in that too. I crashed and burned on a few times too, and I'm here for a reason. There's a reason why I'm still here. I buried my family, I buried everybody around me, but there's a reason God's kept me here. And you know what? I'm making the best of it. I'm fishing, and I'm taking care of myself right now for what I can do, for what time I have left, because who knows, tomorrow may never come. Can't take it with you either,
100%. There's one thing I want to talk to you about. So Oliver has an amazing fucking video on YouTube about Castaic, and you helped him.
I haven't seen the video.
You don't look at YouTube, bro?
I honestly don't spend a lot of time. I mean,
no, this is like a long time ago. I think it's for his aluminum boat, Oliver. You do something really fucking cool, like it.
I did the sea deck. I did the sea deck.
So they redid the wood.
The
only reason I ask is because I'm going to do that. So I'm hoping it could help other people. Check out Oliver's channel. I think it's on Big Bass Dreams. I'm not sure, but check it out. He gives a whole breakdown. He shows you working on it, and another white dude.
Regarding the sea deck?
I showed you guys building the whole deck out.
Oh, well, regarding the deck. Okay.
The deck, but prepping it, because I'm going like, hey, what do I got to use? What kind of wood? How do I seal it? And you have the answer. So I'm like,
well, my approach would be if I had the driver, if I was under the driver's seat, actually had the driver's wheel, it would have been considerably a lot of different things I would have done differently, engineering wise.
So then,
engineering wise, and everybody's different.
Yeah,
but myself, engineering wise, I would do things differently and look back. But the thing is, I came in midstream somewhat, and I just took what was happening and brought it to a point where I made things more materialized and kept things controlled in a controlled atmosphere.
Yes,
not being put together in a driveway, a couple hours a day or whatever, this or that. It was in a controlled environment under my garage, and I could focus and engineer it. That was the whole thing, is the engineering part, and that's where things needed to be more.
And again, what I'll do is I'll post a link to Oliver's video, because it's a great fucking build if you want to do sea deck. Now,
well, any boat, sea deck.
Aluminum,
but the key,
this is aluminum.
But
wood.
the key is the plywood, and most people make their mistakes and cut corners on plywood, and they go half inch or they.
And you got to make a point.
Or
this is aluminum with wood.
They don't. Yes, they don't go with marine grade.
Yes.
Key is my 2 cents. 5/8 thickness marine grade.
Okay.
Minimum. Okay. You won't get flex. You won't get the warp like you get in half inch curls. It doesn't weather as well, and you can't anchor to it. Remember that. You have to anchor. You have to have anchoring points too. Half inch isn't a good substrate for anchoring to. Mm-hmm. Okay, I performed miracles. I modified with what was given to me. And then
he performs miracles.
Then too,
I'm just fucking.
Then also, you got shoestring budgets too. You got to work with too, and free labor. So what can I say? I work for food. Okay, so what can I say? But what I'm saying is that you make the best of what you got.
Yeah.
And the thing is it was a great project. Things were good. It was a kick in the ass. Physically, but other than that, you gotta engineer things properly, put it on paper. Mark helped me tremendously with the logistics regarding the electrical part of it. I'm not an electrical guy. Everything, I should have brought you the in-depth panels that I built. The engineering and what was put together, like if you were building a full-blown bass boat and manufacturing a bass boat, where, you know, you have everything designed to hold and maintain the integrity of all the components that you're putting on the boat.
And the only reason I bring this up is because I seen Oliver do it and it looks great. Chris Purcell from Swim It Underground did the same thing. Looks great, but he had them do it. They did their deck a certain different way, but I'm like, if someone can give some insight, and I think you could, on how to do it on your own, and you can give the tips. That's why.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not giving a jab at Oliver. I'm not giving it. I want people to be able to know, like, hey, this is how he'll do it if he was going to do it in an aluminum boat. Lots of dudes want to build shit, so I'm thinking you could help them. And like I said, I'll push you to Oliver's fucking link.
It costs money, number one, guys.
Yeah.
Nothing's cheap, okay? Nothing is cheap, but it all depends on how long you want to keep the boat, you know? And I like SeaDeck for what it is, and I could see, I mean...
Have you ever looked at HydroTurf?
No.
Same thing, just a cheaper version, like they're in Anaheim.
I look at it that... I look at SeaDeck or any of those type of materials as temporary coverings.
How long are you giving them?
How long you give that? Longevity is my biggest issue I have.
What do you give
with any
time?
With any of the products? I hate carpet. Me
too.
I hate carpet with a passion. Yeah. I really do. But with today's materials in the world we live in, there's no reason why we can have better products. Now, obviously, when you only have one or two companies making a certain material, they're gonna frickin' stick you for it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad product, but I'm saying they got leverage.
Mm-hmm.
You get more people in the mix, there's going to be a price war out there. There's other options. There's other substrates and materials coming. Yeah. It will happen eventually. And the thing about it is that it's all being computerized, digitally done, CNC cut out. They can come out and make a pattern for you, depends on the situation, or you can they'll send you the template, and you make your own, or the materials for the template, you make your own template, which, you know, you can do as well. And then you mark everything down. You do it with a Sharpie.
Yes.
And you mark and identify each compartment and each cutout for each latch and such. You do all that accordingly. As long as your template doesn't move while you're tracing, you're fine. You roll it up, put it in a tube, and send it back to them. And then they'll ship you out the whole SeaDeck.
Cut out.
It comes in a big box. It's rolled. You have to lay it out in the sun. Let it go flat and get pliable. The key is you want it hot, a hot day, sun. I laid out the SeaDeck. I dry fitted every part before I even threw it on the ground out in the drive well, to make sure I got the parts that are going to work. I had a couple pieces that were
off a little,
3/8 of an inch, and that's a lot.
No,
there were some discrepancies, and I laid it out in a probably 80-degree day, and laid it out there and let it get pliable. But I know vinyl, computer vinyl graphics. I've done a lot of applications, in the business, and I've done a lot. So I'm skilled labor. I can do a lot of different things. So I had to fudge it a little bit and compensate and make it work, and I did, and I pulled it off. But one thing about the SeaDeck, I noticed that they do the cutouts for the engraving for the logos. They cut them out a little too deep in some cases. To me, they shouldn't go as deep, because then you only have a thin layer between that and the actual plywood. And all it takes is somebody with Vibram shoes, or have a little you got a rock in your shoe.
Our heels.
Dude. Well, yeah, he starts putting strippers on the boat. I mean, we know where that's going, but you know what?
I love my wife. I love my wife.
I'm just saying, you know, some of us put strippers on the boat. So all I can say, strippers and SeaDeck don't go together. You know? So, but even a big treble hook, you know what I'm saying? A treble hook on a SeaDeck, dude, you throw in big baits, and a treble hook on a SeaDeck, and you hook the edge of the logo, the cutout, and
done.
You're slicing it, you know? So the pros and cons, it repels a lot of stuff. It's good. It's as far as heat. You don't have that heat, deal with the heat, But like I say, the life expectancy of sea deck.
What do you think?
I would personally, I can't say something I don't know, but I don't think it will last as long as carpet. That I would say in the first, right out of the gate.
So carpet lasted for me.
I got original carpet in my boat.
But I take it out to the wall. So
okay. Well, salt water is a different story.
2 years.
I don't know. I mean,
with blood and shit.
Well, don't forget. Sea deck evolved around, I believe, high end boats too, and back in Florida. Is that right? Florida.
Yeah, I think so.
So, and those people, they hose off their boats, and a lot of them don't fish.
Yeah.
And they're out there just lounging and this and that. But
yeah.
But I seen some beautiful, beautiful applications of it. I knew nothing about the product. I just, saw what it was, and a high performance sticky adhesive, very easy to work with. But you gotta have a little experience and take your time, and you can do it. I wouldn't say it's workable for everybody as far as application, but a good majority of people, common sense, and don't get ahead of yourself. You can put it down, and like I say, if you can get a price cut on it, a deal on it as well,
handle it.
That would be a good deal too. I like Sea Deck, like I say, I really do, over carpet. Longevity though, I don't know. Yeah. I wanted to get a new boat with Sea Deck. I mean, to be honest with you, I was hoping there was other options as well too. And I guarantee you, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to see some changes.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
West Coast.
Yeah. So we're going to do this in a series. Same shit we did with Butch. We want to do with Butch.
How much time we got? Where we at?
We're doing like almost 2 hours, I think, so far.
No.
So what I want you to do is give a little message on what you want to say to people, right now. Positive, right? You got a lot to say. I feel like you're a really positive guy. You got a lot of good things to say. So why not say something good to dudes? And
I don't want to make anybody cry.
Oh, I want to cry. Said you put those fool.
Oh, I'll tell you the truth.
No, bedtime
story. Bedtime stories for everybody.
Hey, bedtime stories with Sancho Claus, fool. You want to say something to some dudes and be like, "Hey, if someone could remember me, what are they going to remember me for?"
I'm not about that. I'm not. No? I'm not worried or concerned about this or who this.
You what they think.
What they think or this or that. To be honest with you, you're going to have people. You're going to have people that'll hate you. People will love you. But you know what? I'll give you a perfect example. I was a while back. I was on Skinner, and dude, I was there, the only boat in this one cove, and these knuckleheads were in the back, and all I could say is the one guy I wanted to tell him, hey, I got a good connection where you can get some singing lessons, right? But I thought that to myself. I was thinking, man, that's pretty bad. He ruined every song that came up, on the radio, on the radio he had there.
Yeah.
And then his partner shows up. He goes, I hope that dude falls over and drowns. And they were talking about me.
That's horrible.
Like I was impeding in their area. I was in their way. And I was, 400 feet from them? Shit. Maybe 500 feet from them? Yeah. They think I can't hear them. So I'm like, really, dude? You really going to go there, huh? You really want me to fall over and drown? That's how smart you are, huh? That's the compassion we have for this younger generation. Yeah. And it's like, dude, I'm bothering nobody. And I'm not even fishing for their fish.
Yeah.
And I'm not even planning on going near them. And I'm minding my own business, and I got to hear that. I'm like, back, you never heard shit like that before. I mean, I don't know how many times I had freaking 2-ounce weights flying at me with practically striper guys, just because I'm catching fish, and I'm offshore somewhere in the middle. I'm bothering nobody.
Yeah.
But these guys, and I'm releasing them, and they're pissed off. And I won't say what ethnicity they are, but they're pissed off at me. But
they're Mexican for sure. They're Mexican.
No.
I'm just fucking with you.
But I'm going to tell you one thing. Dude, I've literally taken my boat and put it on the freaking, literally have thrown my boat right on their doorstep. and like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And then they think I'm crazy. I go, yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But you want to take it to that next level.
Yeah.
And it's like, I took 3 guys on at one time, and I was like, and I thought back, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? And then one guy goes, dude, you're freaking crazy. I go, yeah, I'm crazy. So who's going to go first? You know? And it was like, I cut every one of their freaking lines too. They all had like 20.
Maybe just tell everyone to calm down.
They had all like,
right?
You know, it's just like, why does it have to be like that? You know, it's like people today, the people of today, I hate to say it because it's such a big melting pot we have now, opposed to 20, 30, 40 years ago. Believe me, I've seen a lot in their most recent weeks with this whole Corona thing. The biggest letdown of humanity I've seen in my whole life is more recent. I mean, I've seen it throughout my life, but now, more recently, dude, I'm in a melting pot, a really melting pot, and it's live or die. I come to the terms it will be, you can come down to 11 die situations. Yeah. History repeats itself, and there's a lot of shit that I've heard and seen throughout the world. And
horrible.
And believe me, I mean, I know the evil and I know the good. And that's the problem. People don't know the difference. And people just put themselves in the middle, and they don't seem to really take notice of what the reactions, what they say, and be accountable for their reactions. Integrity is something we don't have anymore.
Yeah.
We've lost integrity and respect, common courtesy. We're all going to grow old. We're all going to need help, but nobody's paying attention of the weak, the elderly, the sick. All I can say is take care of your loved ones. Cherish them. They won't ever be here forever. And everybody out there, you know, waiting in line to get in the lake, everybody
be nice.
Being in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know, listen, the lakes they're always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. It's just having respect. You don't have to run over everybody. You know, DVL last week, I had a guy freaking just roll up on me. I mean, I rolled up on a spot that I'm a good 200-300 feet away. Easy 200-300 feet away. Maybe further. And the dude, he was pulling up his trolling motor right when I got there. He came over, and I'm pulling the rod out for my buddy to hand him a rod to fish. And I marked some good fish on this spot, way on the outside, okay? And these new motors, you can't even hear them. This dude's 50 feet away from me. Just was a big inshore boat.
Man overboard.
Just running like right next to me. And I look at my buddy Matt. I go, dude. He goes, he's sight scanning your shit right now. I go, is that dude. So that's what it's all about, huh? I couldn't hear him. I'm just trying to pull a rod out of the locker. So I'm like, dude, I go, really? Is
what
that
a dick, dude.
And this is on a weekday, but I'm saying it's getting bad. But what I'm saying is, look, Paris is going to open up soon. Let's be cordial, civil, cordial, just respectful, because come on, half the guys that come out in the spring and the summer, they disappear once it gets hot. They take their $80,000 boats and throw them and put them back away, and then they'll come out. They'll come out in springtime and sight fish, and you know, and then put a big bait on it and say I caught a swim bait fish. You know,
look at
I mean, come on, it's a game. You know, and that happens. It happens a lot. But what can I say? I'm going to piss people off. That's what I'm going to do. You know, it's the truth. But the facts are the facts. People need to just enjoy themselves. And you don't have to beat your chest. Just go out there and make the best of it, of what you can make it. And that's all you can do. And whatever you're blessed with that day, that's what you do. And improve on your skills. Right now, if you're locked up, improve on all your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Write it on paper, apply it, and look at it. I don't care if it's terminal tackle, whatever you want to do, whatever your weaknesses are, work on your weaknesses. Be a better fisherman. Be more functional, versatile, whatever you are, work on it. Don't go to the lake and then trying to do it there. Put it on paper and prep yourself mentally, and then apply it. That's what I could tell you. Live today like it's your last day, and truly, truly respect everybody around you and your loved ones, because one day you won't have them. And our lakes today and what we have is not what I had before. I've lost so much. And the few and the ones that know the game out there and what we've had, we never knew how good we had it. and now it's all gone.
Yeah.
It is all gone for the most part. I'll never see it come back in my lifetime. But the fact is, the generation now, they are trying to be rewarded too quick, too soon, and not willing to put in the work. And they have everything accessible to them, accessibility, which I never did. I had to read it. I had to follow it, whether it be a magazine or a weekly Western Outdoor News or whatever. I had Bassmasters or whatever it may be, and that's where I had to pull it from and just kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together and apply it and figure it out.
Damn, you're dropping knowledge bombs, man. I'm telling you. Do you have Instagram or no? You don't.
It's private account. I honestly do. I engage with some people out there, but I PM. It's all PM stuff, and what's your
private account? I
allow myself to interact with certain people, and there's a lot of garage bait guys that I'll interact to, or say a few. There's some good people out there, some good stuff out there, and there's a lot of junk out there, but there's a lot of good out there too. But I'll tell you what, I see a lot of good stuff happening, and I see just average things happening as well, which no disrespect, but there are some people that are separating themselves from the rest, and I really appreciate design and developing in marketing the way some of the guys are doing stuff. It encourages me and just makes me feel good because I could do all that. I just can't. I don't have the hands I had 20, 30 years ago. I have it here, but I can't put it here and apply it all. But I look at this style and I'm like, gosh, I see what they're doing. I get it. I've dabbled into some of it. I tweak I have techniques and certain things I do that, believe me, if you want to stay on top or if you want to be out there, you got to tweak some stuff out.
Yeah.
And I don't fish a lot of stuff that's right out of the box. I do a lot of mods, and I take things to a different level, and just the subtleties. But we can get into that another time. But there's so much more.
Like I said, I want to do
there's so much more, And right now, we hit, a few things here. We didn't even talk about Hank Parker,
Yeah, we got another podcast in us. So what I want to do is just this is a dude that I think the local guy that has a lot of history. So I wanted to have him on. Check him out on his Instagram. I don't know what it is. He's private, so. But other than that, if you see him, say hi. Bass Jesus, you know who he is, right? You see the hair? Yeah. Thank you again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Again, support performance. This is where I met this guy. And we'll see you on the next one, and hopefully we get another one out a couple months with Kelly. So thanks again, Kelly. I appreciate it.
I'll be available.
All right.